Greetings!
Hi everybody, it's the Jim
And Dave.
Beer Review.
We are Montgomery County's premier beer reviewers, mainly because we don't know anybody else is doing it.
Yes.
And we win by default.
And I told the kind gentleman at the establishment we got this beer that I'd plug them, way to go there, Capone's.
Okay.
Thank you for the big selection.
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, the first beer we are going to talk about tonight is Bigfoot Barleywine Style Ale, Sierra Nevada, which we did purchase at Capone's. Not to say it's not available in our other favorite establishments, but we were on a bit of a short time today, so we had to get someplace close. Now, Dave, I probably didn't tell you the story. The thing about Sierra Nevada Bigfoot, this was recommended to me by a friend of mine who lives out in Sacramento, California. His name is Manuel. And he was telling me that he buys some of this every year, and every year he'll put some away. This is one of those kinds of beer that can age. You know, most beer you want to do fresh. Right, it's a barley wine. So, but to give you more information about that, I'm going to be reading from the Sierra Nevada website, which doesn't seem particularly original, but hey, this is the information on there. I'm trying to get through this quickly, so if I'm talking too quickly, too bad. See, we respect our listeners.
We love you guys, though, really.
We love you. Jim and Dave care.
Yes.
And we're original, too.
We care.
Okay. All right, this is a cult classic beast of a barley wine. Another beast. Well, it's called Bigfoot, so, okay, I get the comparison there. Bigfoot is a beast of a beer, brimming with bold flavors of bittersweet malt and heaps of aggressive whole corn Pacific Northwest hops. First introduced in the winter of 1983, Bigfoot is a cult classic beer brewed in the barley wine style, meaning a strong, robust bruiser of a beer with the refined intensity of a wine. You know, you don't usually think of wine and beer in the same...
Usually you don't, but I have learned to see that over the last couple months.
Yes, we are still growing. We started out this, we were just like, hey, we like beer, hi. But now we've become all like, well, let me tell you about the palate.
I feel a little bit of tobacco with the aroma of chocolate and a bit of the smokiness.
Yes, this beer has a hint of the snootiness.
Yeah.
But, okay, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, and Bigfoot is prized by beer collectors for its supreme cellarability. I didn't even know cellarability was a word.
It is.
But I got some, we're actually in the cellar here.
Yes.
And I have some stored over there where it's going to stay at a perfect 55 degrees for the next 3 years, because I got 3 more left after this one. I only bought one, so. Should have bought more, but hey, we got other beers to review. Now, there's a quick thing about aged beer. This is also in regard to the barley style wine here. It says, now most beers should be consumed as fresh as possible to experience the bright flavors and complexity as the brewer intends. That's what we've always done. Occasionally, though, some styles of beer will progress and improve with a bit of age, not unlike a fine wine. Now, beers that are high in alcohol, have moderate amount of roasted grains, use a wild yeast, which is interesting too, because if you use a wild yeast, very hard to predict the outcome apparently. And the beers are also barrel aged and are bottle conditioned. All those types are prime candidates for aging. Now, over time, gradual oxidation changes the flavors of the beers, adding notes of sherry or port wine and smoothing out harsh alcohol flavors.
Port.
Vintage beers should be stored in a dark place with a cool and constant temperature for best results. Barley wines and imperial stouts, as you said, are great candidates for aging. Both Bigfoot and Narwhal will progress in the bottle for years. Okay, well, I got mine in the shadow. It's not dark. Maybe I'll put it in a bag or something.
Did we have some Narwhal before, too? I think we did. But
rings a bell, huh?
Yes, it does.
Alrighty then. Well,
there's
Dave.
more to it, by the way.
Oh, there's more down here? Nope, that was it.
No. You have to see that.
Oh,
swipe.
Hey, this has got one of those interfaces where you have to swipe. Okay. Good Lord. Well, I don't want to sit here and read the whole thing because, you know, they can go to the website themselves.
Yes.
And a lot of this actually looks the same. Okay. Real quick, I'll just give you the high points. Dry hops. They work hard to get strong hop flavors into their beers. And they do that through dry hopping. Okay.
We've heard the word dry hop before.
Yeah, somebody was actually, was going through Twitter, somebody said that calling a beer hoppy is not the way to describe a beer because all beers usually have hops, of course.
Well, that's one of the 40 ingredients, right?
Right. in the Rheinheitsgebot boat. Although, interestingly enough, I saw, I believe it was somebody from, well, I think it was Goose Island, or it could have been Sierra Nevada. They were at a Google conference, and he said, well, beers have been around for, the earliest one they found that was beer-like was about 8,000 years. But the Rheinheitsgebot, the German beer purity law of, I believe it was 1560, forgive me if I'm getting the year wrong, said it could only have malt, barley, hops, and water. Is that four?
4 ingredients.
Yeah. And he said that's just a fraction of the history of beer. And, quite frankly, this isn't Germany.
We could probably teach this in a college class.
Absolutely.
Well, not us, but someone else could.
And they also, last note, they have open fermentation, which means that most beer is made in a tall cylindrical fermentation tanks, but some beers, however, can be confined. Beers that feature unique yeast character just won't behave like others. These beers thrive in traditional open fermenters. Steel tanks open at the top to allow the yeast to breathe, live, and be happy. The yeast reacts differently when given this free-range alternative, producing depth, character, and flavor. So I'm assuming this is all what Bigfoot does, because it's all under that particular banner. All right, well, that was a good 6 minutes and 23 seconds of blah, blah, blah. But you are here to see us review beer.
Yes.
And if you're not, well, hey, welcome.
Right.
All right. Now,
I almost don't want to open this because it sounds so good.
I know. It's like we should save it forever and never drink it. But I like this. They have the year on there. So if you have, I was going to put little sticky notes on there so I know what it was. They have the year on here already. So in years to come, hopefully in 2017, Dave and I will be back and we'll say, hey, do you remember when blah, blah, blah? Of course, by then we're going to be in a big studio with lots of sponsors, right?
Yeah,
right.
Right, yeah.
Hello, Sonia the Beer Cat's here. They always come up. Now, unfortunately, after I just got done all that blah, 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 did I give you any pertinent information about what's on here?
On the bottle.
Absolutely.
What's the alcohol content on
Alcohol by volume, 9.6.
Wow, there you go.
We watched another review. The guy said when it had a lot of alcohol, he called it hot.
Hot.
Although
Yes,
I think that's
his
a strange one for alcohol, but okay, I'll go with it. I'm not seeing
It's like
IBUs.
somebody calling something grass when it's really weed, but it could be marijuana.
We don't condone that sort of thing
Neither
here.
do I, but I'm saying
Unless we're in Colorado, in which case, knock yourself out.
It's still.
Anybody want to invite us to Colorado? No, sorry, just kidding. No, we're too old for that nonsense.
No, that's beyond me.
Absolutely. Fresh seal cap, 2014. Use bottle opener. Hey, now there's good advice.
He's got a bottle opener.
All right.
I got one on me all times.
Now, do you think we should let this breathe? No.
Yeah, well, not pretty for how long?
Oh, yeah. Anticipation. My friend Manuel, who recommended this, thank you so much. This is for you, buddy. We dedicate this beer review to you.
Go.
Now, this is not very cold. I put it in a refrigerator, so it's not in an ice cold temperature. We think that, and we've been told by other experts, that drinking ice cold beer, not the way to go because you're not getting the flavor. So this is a little bit warmer. I believe it's around 45 degrees or so, given the feel of it. Although, interestingly enough, do you remember the one we reviewed a couple weeks ago? It was that psychedelic can with the orange zest.
What was that called?
Well, it doesn't matter. We can put it in the comments.
Yeah.
But I actually had another can of that.
You did?
Yeah. And Chen put it in the freezer. That's my stepson. And he almost froze it. So when he poured it out, it was like a slushy.
Mm.
And he's like, oh, this is pretty good. I was like, here, let me try it again. Give me a little sip. I was just like, wow, this one we didn't like the taste of was much better frozen. It tasted like a regular IPA there.
That's weird.
All right, that's another side note. Dave, let's take a look at the color. Wow, look at that. That is dark.
Reddish.
What would you call that color?
That's a reddish.
A hint of red.
It's
Almost caramel. Caramel? Caramel? How many syllables do you like to have in your sweet words?
I think red.
Reddish. Oh, yeah. Definitely deep amber.
Like copper.
Do you think it's a little foggy? I'm not seeing through it.
No, I'm seeing through it. I see a lot of bubbles.
All right. I'd say it's a little bit opaque, but yeah, a lot of bubbles. Still got
bubbles.
the head on it is not bright white. It's a little tan, but it's not dark like it would be for a stout, obviously. But this is a barley wine. I think we've only done one or two other barley wine styles before. Maybe just one.
Maybe one.
Maybe one, yeah.
Maybe one.
So we're still new to this
See,
style.
there's not a lot of head on this, apparently, because it's more wine-ish.
Well, I didn't pour it very harshly,
No.
but yeah, you're right. It's
There are
not a
some
lot.
beers you go down and it's just like you see tons of foam.
And this one, it doesn't have a ton, but you see other beers too that don't barely have any. So let's give it a little sniff. Interesting. It does have some definite.
It's got a wine taste to it, a wine smell to it. I mean, it's got a
Yeah,
wine
it
smell.
does have a
No, I can smell wine,
sort of almost like a syrupy, very sweet.
like a Chardonnay type smell to it.
Yes, but you can definitely get the barley scent. Almost. I almost want to say I caught like a little bit of citrus, lemony sort of thing, but yeah, that's interesting.
Lemony, citrusy, yes.
Yeah. It's sort of a little sweetness.
I really do smell the wine. Maybe you don't drink wine enough or be around wine enough to smell it. But
We're beer reviewers. We're not wine reviewers.
I do know what the smell of wine is.
Oh, so do I.
There's wine in it. I can smell the wine.
Absolutely. Well, I think we've been having these people wait long enough.
Yes.
Our beer reviews tend to get dragged
close
on.
to the end of 15 minutes.
Cheers to
here.
you, my friend,
Cheers
and cheers to you,
guys.
my friends.
Yes. Cheers, Emmanuel.
Manuel, to you. I sipped it. Didn't gulp it, sipped it. Certainly a very complex character. It doesn't have the initial loving taste that like one of my beloved IPAs would have, or my 10 Mirror Pond. This is a very interesting beer, much like the other barley wine we tried. This is a unique. The barley wine is a unique style all its own. I find I'm trying to imagine what I would pair this with. I'm thinking, this would have to probably be fish. Okay, I can see that.
Salmon.
Yeah, maybe.
It's just more of a wine.
Yeah, it's more of a wine
than a beer.
So I'm thinking maybe some red meat, or if you were going to go with seafood, perhaps. I don't know, maybe some sushi. But this is a tough one. Yeah, I would definitely think this would be a bigger meal one. This is one that you'd have with a bigger meal and you would probably sip while you're doing it. But I'm also looking forward in the future to trying this as it ages. Let's see here. Hey, let's do this like the professionals we've seen. Ready?
Yes.
Are we beer tasting or are we trying to be ducks here?
Or fish.
Or fish.
Or fish.
Wow, look at me. 48 years old. I'm sitting here making faces to video. What am I, 8 years
Wow.
old?
I don't know what to make of this.
This is hard to categorize. Now, but this is also the year it was brewed. So
Maybe it's better with age.
maybe. I'm thinking it's there's
You
a
gotta
little,
need a whole other year to give you that our real honest opinion.
maybe even 3. Well, it's a little bit bitter on the back end.
Yes, it's definitely bitter.
We didn't check the IPUs. We apologize for that. Well.
Give me that real quick. That's the bottom of the page you added.
All right, quickly. We're running out of time for you two.
I got this.
Well, if I have to give it a rating, this is in its unique category. So I wouldn't call this a 10 in the barley wine category because, quite frankly, we haven't reviewed enough to be appreciative of the style yet. In the general beer category, I would probably have to give this. That's very unique. See, this is not fair. I'd have to say maybe a 7, but that's just because I don't know the style. I just it's very hard to categorize.
Bread pudding, mission figs, and med jewel dates are the cuisine. And cheese is pungent blue cheese.
All right, we got 40 seconds, 50 seconds.
The alcohol content 9.6. The bitterness is 90.
Whoa! See, it was very bitter on the back. I was right about that. All right, so there's a 7. I would buy this.
I would buy this too. I'd give it a 7 also.
There you have it. Jim and Dave's beer review.
Yes.
Sierra Nevada barley wine.
Do not drink and drive. Do not drink while you're pregnant.
And if you're under 21, don't buy beer.
Not drink beer and do not watch our videos.
All right. Say goodbye, Sonia. Sonia.
Sonia.
All right. Well, say goodbye, Dave.
Goodbye, Dave.